Hello everyone, welcome to UPSC Explainer 101. Today, we'll explore Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 from Spectrum. Let's dive in. Explain the colonial approach to Indian history and its impact on the historiography of modern India. Answer. Definition. The colonial approach was introduced by British historians like James Mill and Vincent Smith. Characteristics. This approach criticized Indian culture and society while glorifying Western values. Impact. It portrayed colonial rule as a civilizing mission, creating a biased narrative that depicted India as stagnant and needing guidance. Consequence. This approach influenced early modern Indian historiography by introducing Eurocentric perspectives and underestimating Indian contributions. Discuss the emergence and significance of the nationalist approach in Indian historiography. Answer. Background. The nationalist approach developed as a reaction to the colonial approach. Focus. Highlighted the unification of Indian society across religious, caste, and linguistic lines, and the growth of nationalist sentiments. Contributors. Key figures like Dadabhai Naoroji and R.C. Majumdar emphasized India's rich past and the adverse impact of colonialism. Significance. This approach helped in creating a sense of national pride and countered the biased narratives of colonial historians. Evaluate the Marxist approach to the study of Indian history. Answer. Perspective. The Marxist approach focuses on class struggle and economic factors driving historical events. Analysis. It interprets the national movement as a conflict between the colonial bourgeoisie and the native proletariat. Critique. This approach has been criticized for overemphasizing economic factors and undermining cultural and ideological aspects. How does the Subaltern approach differ from earlier historiographical methods in Indian history? Answer. Distinct focus. Concentrates on the experiences and struggles of the marginalized and underprivileged classes, which were often overlooked. Critique of elitism. Challenges the elitist bias in traditional historiography, emphasizing the role of the common masses. Contribution. Introduced new perspectives in understanding the dynamics of colonial rule and resistance. Analyze the communalist approach in the context of Indian historiography. Answer. Perspective. Views Hindu-Muslim relations as inherently antagonistic, focusing on communal conflicts. Criticism. This approach has been criticized for promoting divisive narratives and overlooking periods of communal harmony. Relevance. Essential for understanding the communal dynamics leading to events like the partition of India. Assess the Cambridge School's contribution to the study of Indian nationalism. Answer. Argument. Proposes that Indian nationalism was more a product of internal conflicts among Indians rather than an anti-colonial struggle. Critique. Criticized for reducing the complexity of the national movement to mere power politics and material interests. What is the significance of the feminist approach in Indian historiography? Answer. Focus. Highlights the impact of colonial policies on women and their role in the freedom struggle. Contribution. Brought attention to gender issues and the role of women in history, which was largely ignored in other approaches. How does the liberal and neoliberal approach reinterpret the economic impacts of colonialism in India? Answer. Perspective. This approach challenges the notion that colonialism was economically beneficial to Britain. Argument. It suggests that the exploitation of Indian resources and markets actually delayed industrial development in Britain. Reinterpretation shifts the focus from colonialism as a civilizing mission to a more complex understanding of its economic impacts, both in India and Britain. Significance provides a nuanced view of the colonial economy, highlighting the adverse effects of colonial policies on Indian industries. Critically analyze the importance of historiography in understanding the history of modern India. Answer. Definition. Historiography refers to the study of the methods and approaches used in the writing of history. Role in understanding history. Different approaches offer varied perspectives, enriching our understanding of India's past. Importance of critical analysis. It's essential to critically analyze these approaches to avoid biases and understand the underlying motives and contexts. Prelims MCQs. Who is associated with the idea that the British brought unity to India as part of the colonial approach to Indian historiography? A. James Mill. B. Mount Stuart Elphinstone. C. Vincent Smith. D. R.C. Majumdar. Answer. C. Vincent Smith. The Marxist approach in Indian historiography was heralded by which two classic books? A. India Today, by Rajni Pamdutt, and Social Background of Indian Nationalism, by A.R. Desai. B. Discovery of India, by Jawaharlal Nehru. C. Glimpses of World History, by Jawaharlal Nehru. D. The Indian Struggle, by Subhash Chandra Bose. Answer. A. India Today, by Rajni Pamdutt, and Social Background of Indian Nationalism, by A.R. Desai. What is the primary contradiction in Indian society during the colonial epoch according to subaltern historians? A. Between colonialism and the Indian people. B. Between the elite, both Indian and foreign, and the subaltern groups. C. Between different religious groups. D. Between different linguistic groups. Answer. B. Between the elite, both Indian and foreign, and the subaltern groups. What unique perspective does the Cambridge School approach offer regarding Indian nationalism? A. It was a result of anti-colonial struggle. B. It was a product of conflicts among Indians themselves for benefits from the British rulers. C. It was solely a movement of cultural revival. D. It was inspired by religious sentiments. Answer. B. It was a product of conflicts among Indians themselves for benefits from the British rulers. What was the focus of the feminist approach in historiography? A. The role of women in the freedom struggle. B. Analysis of colonial structures affecting women's lives and their vulnerability due to the denial of ownership of productive resources. C. The political leadership of women in the national movement. D. The economic contributions of women during the colonial period. Answer. B. Analysis of colonial structures affecting women's lives and their vulnerability due to the denial of ownership of productive resources. Which of the following best describes the primary contradiction identified by subaltern historians in Indian society during the colonial period? A. Between colonialism and the Indian people. B. Between the elite, both Indian and foreign, and the subaltern groups. C. Among various religious groups. D. Between capitalists and laborers. Answer. B. Between the elite, both Indian and foreign, and the subaltern groups. How does the Cambridge School approach critique the common understanding of Indian nationalism? A. By asserting it was solely based on religious sentiments. B. By suggesting it was a result of intra-Indian conflicts for British favours rather than a unified anti-colonial struggle. C. By focusing on its cultural revival aspect. D. By emphasizing its economic underpinnings. Answer. B. By suggesting it was a result of intra-Indian conflicts for British favours rather than a unified anti-colonial struggle. In the context of the feminist approach to historiography, what aspect of colonial impact on Indian women does it particularly highlight? A. The political empowerment of women during the British rule. B. The economic contributions of women in the colonial economy. C. The impact of colonial structures on women's lives and their vulnerability due to the denial of resource ownership. D. The role of women in leading the freedom struggle. Answer. C. The impact of colonial structures on women's lives and their vulnerability due to the denial of resource ownership. What does the Marxist approach in Indian historiography primarily focus on? A. The cultural superiority of the British over the Indians. B. Class struggle and economic exploitation under colonial rule. C. The nationalist movement as a unified struggle against imperialism. D. The religious and linguistic diversity in the Indian society. Answer. B. Class struggle and economic exploitation under colonial rule. Chapter 3. Discuss the factors that led to the advent of the Portuguese in India and analyze their initial strategies in establishing power. Answer. Factors for advent: quest for sea route, post-Roman Empire, trade routes to India were controlled by Arabs, prompting Europeans to seek a direct sea route. Economic motives: European demand for Indian commodities like spices and textiles was a major driver. Technological advances: improvements in shipbuilding and navigation during the Renaissance period facilitated long sea voyages. Initial strategies: naval dominance, establishing strategic naval bases for controlling key maritime routes, fortification of trading posts, fortifying key locations like Kochi and Goa for both trade and military purposes, monopolization of trade, introducing permit systems to control trade and undermine Arab and local traders. Compare the approaches of Dutch and English East India companies in establishing their presence in India. Answer. Dutch approach: commercial expansion, established first factory in Masulipatam, expanding to various regions for trade. Confrontation with Portuguese, captured key areas from the Portuguese, such as Nagapattam. Trading network, engaged in redistributive trade, carrying Indian products to the Far East. English approach: formation of company, formation of the English East India Company following high profits in eastern trade. Strategic alliances, garnered permissions and privileges from Mughal emperors through diplomatic missions, foothold in strategic locations, established factories in Surat and Bengal, leveraging Mughal farming for trade advantages. Evaluate the role of Dupleix in the French expansion in India and identify the reasons for his failure. Answer. Role of Dupleix: diplomatic maneuvering. Dupleix effectively used diplomacy to meddle in local Indian politics, supporting his chosen candidates in Hyderabad and Carnatic. Military involvement: actively engaged in Carnatic wars, demonstrating the French ambition to establish political power in India. Innovative strategies, introduced the practice of subsidiary alliances and placed French army in strategic locations. Reasons for failure, high costs and political decisions, heavy expenses incurred by the French company due to Dupleix's strategies, autocratic leadership. His autocratic style led to conflicts within his ranks, lack of direct military leadership. Dupleix's plans often failed in execution due to his absence on the battlefield. Analyze the significance of the Carnatic Wars in the context of Anglo-French rivalry in India. Answer, background and causes. The Carnatic Wars were a manifestation of the traditional rivalry between England and France, influenced by European conflicts. Impact on colonial ambitions. These wars marked the beginning of active European involvement in Indian politics and territorial ambitions. Military innovations and strategies showcased the effectiveness of European military tactics against larger Indian armies and emphasized the importance of naval power in regional conflicts. Elucidate the strategies employed by Albuquerque in consolidating Portuguese power in India. What were the consequences of his policies? Answer, Albuquerque's strategies, strategic expansion, securing control over key regions like Goa, Malabar, and East Africa. Control of shipbuilding, dominance over shipbuilding centers to hinder the naval capabilities of others. Cultural policies, notable moves like the abolition of sati in Goa. Consequences, establishment of Portuguese dominance, secured a strong foothold for Portugal in the Indian Ocean. Cultural and religious impact, policies led to a mix of admiration and resistance among the local populations. Analyze how the English East India Company's strategies evolved from mere trading to establishing political foothold in India. Answer, evolution of strategies. Initial trade focus began with establishing trade relations through factories and trade centers. Diplomatic engagements secured favorable terms through negotiations with Mughal emperors. Political involvement, gradual involvement in local politics, leveraging trade privileges to gain political influence. Evaluate the role of maritime power in shaping the course of European colonial ambitions in India during the 16th and 17th centuries. Answer, significance of maritime power, control of trade routes. Naval strength was crucial for controlling key maritime trade routes. Military engagements, naval battles often decided the fate of colonial ambitions in the region. Projection of power, demonstrated the ability to project power far from home bases, essential for colonial expansion. Discuss the role of local Indian rulers in political dynamics in shaping the outcomes of European interventions in India. Answer, role of Indian rulers, alliances and conflicts. Indian rulers frequently allied with or opposed European powers based on their interests. Political maneuvering. Some rulers utilized European rivalries to strengthen their own positions. Influence on European interventions, determining European success. Local rulers' support or opposition often determined the success of European ventures. Shaping colonial policies, Indian political dynamics influenced the strategies and policies adopted by European powers. Prelims MCQs. The decline of which empire in the 7th century led to the Arabs establishing their domination in Egypt and Persia? A. Byzantine Empire. B. Roman Empire. C. Ottoman Empire. D. Persian Empire. Answer, B. Roman Empire. Who was the Gujarati pilot that led Vasco da Gama to India in 1498? A. Kanji Malam. B. Abdul Majid. C. Ahmad ibn Majid. D. Ibn Battuta. Answer, B. Abdul Majid. Which Hindu ruler of Calicut gave a friendly reception to Vasco da Gama upon his arrival in India? A. Rajendra Chola. B. Zamorin, Samuthiri. C. Shivaji Maharaj. D. Rana Pratap. Answer, B. Zamorin, Samuthiri. What was the primary objective of the Portuguese in finding a new sea route to India? A. Establishing Christian missions. B. Finding gold and other precious metals. C. Displacing the Arab and Turkish monopoly over the spice trade. D. Exploring new lands for colonization. Answer, C. Displacing the Arab and Turkish monopoly over the spice trade. What was the Blue Water Policy associated with Francisco de Almeida? A. A policy of religious conversion. B. A policy of establishing land fortresses. C. A policy of naval dominance to control the sea routes. D. A policy of peaceful trade with Indian kingdoms. Answer, C. A policy of naval dominance to control the sea routes. Albuquerque secured strategic control of the Indian Ocean for Portugal by establishing bases in all except which of the following locations? A. East Africa. B. Red Sea. C. Malabar. D. Malacca. Answer, B. Red Sea. During the time of Portuguese arrival, which powerful ruler was dominating Gujarat? A. Akbar. B. Shivaji. C. Mahmud Begaha. D. Krishna Deva Raya. Answer, C. Mahmud Begaha. What was the main stronghold of the Dutch in South India after they captured it from the Portuguese? A. Goa. B. Kochi. C. Nagapattam. D. Calicut. Answer: C. Nagapattam. In which year did the English East India Company receive its initial charter from Queen Elizabeth I? A. 1580. B. 1600. C. 1615. D. 1620. Answer: B. 1600. Captain Hawkins, who arrived at Jahangir's court, was part of which company? A. Dutch East India Company. B. French East India Company. C. English East India Company. D. Portuguese East India Company. Answer: C. English East India Company. The famous farmans secured by the English mission led by John Sirman to the court of the Mughal Emperor Farrukh Shiar in 1715 were significant because they were regarded as A. The Declaration of Independence. B. The Magna Carta of the Company. C. The Treaty of Peace. D. The Charter of Liberties. Answer: B. The Magna Carta of the Company. Which year marked the establishment of the first permanent factory of the East India Company at Surat? A. 1600. B. 1613. C. 1615. D. 1620. Answer: B. 1613. The French East India Company was founded during the reign of which king? A. Louis XIV. B. Henry IV. C. Charles V. D. Philip II. Answer: A. Louis XIV. The English East India Company's transition from trade to political influence in India was gradual. What marked the beginning of this transition? A. The establishment of the first factory in Surat. B. The military defeat of the Portuguese in naval battles. C. The securing of farmland from Mughal emperors granting trading privileges. D. The acquisition of Bombay from the Portuguese. Answer: C. The securing of farmland from Mughal emperors granting trading privileges. The Carnatic Wars were significant in the context of European rivalries in India. What was a key outcome of these wars? A. Established the Dutch as the dominant European power in South India. B. Led to the complete withdrawal of the French from India. C. Demonstrated the effectiveness of European military tactics against larger Indian forces. D. Resulted in the formation of a long-lasting alliance between the French and the English. Answer: C. Demonstrated the effectiveness of European military tactics against larger Indian forces. Analyzing the geopolitical shifts due to the Portuguese arrival in India, what was one of the significant changes in the Indian Ocean trade dynamics? A. Increased cooperation between Asian and European traders. B. Decline in the overall volume of maritime trade. C. Introduction of naval warfare and disruption of traditional trade practices. D. Establishment of direct trade routes between India and the Americas. Answer: C. Introduction of naval warfare and disruption of traditional trade practices. Assessing Dupleix's approach to expanding French influence in India, which strategy was not employed by him? A. Engaging directly in military campaigns against rival European powers. B. Diplomatic maneuvers to interfere in the internal politics of Indian states. C. Establishing subsidiary alliances with Indian rulers. D. Promoting French culture and language among Indian elites. Answer: A. Engaging directly in military campaigns against rival European powers. The Carnatic Wars played a crucial role in the Anglo-French rivalry in India. What was a significant outcome of these conflicts? A. Solidified the Dutch control over the spice trade. B. Demonstrated the superiority of European military tactics over traditional Indian warfare. C. Led to a lasting peace agreement between the English and the French. D. Resulted in the French gaining control over major Indian territories. Answer: B. Demonstrated the superiority of European military tactics over traditional Indian warfare. Thanks for watching.